من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب قد آتيتني من الملك وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث رب زدني علما وفهما وألحقني بالصالحين. Diyanet İşleri Başkanlığımızın değerli yöneticileri,
Estimable administrators of the Religious Affairs Authority of Turkey, distinguished members of our religious world, estimable religious officials, distinguished guests, may the blessings and bountifulness of God be upon you all. I greet you all with respect and love. On the occasion of the Week of Mosques and Religious Officials, I am very pleased to host you at the presidential complex, the home of our nation. Representing all the religious officials of our country, you, the valuable religious officials, are more than welcome to this venue. Through you, I would like to also extend my gratitude to all the religious officials who are serving abroad. In the person of all these brothers and sisters here, I would like to also extend my special thanks to all the religious advisors, preachers, teachers of Quran, muftis, imams, the representatives of all religious affairs. I would like to congratulate the Week of Mosques and Religious Officials. And I would like to thank to the chairperson of the Religious Affairs Authority of Turkey for bringing us all together. And I also would like to thank to his team. The Religious Affairs Authority has 129,000 members, and they are active in all 81 provinces of our country, and they address all corners of the world, from Asia to Africa. And it is, if you will, the apple of our eye as an institution. All imams and hojas who keep our preaching in our mimbars, our pulpits, and our calls for prayer in our minarets deserve special thanks, and your work is of great importance. But unfortunately, a certain section of the society falls short to understand the mandate of Religious Affairs Authority of Turkey, and they believe that the framework of authority, the mandate of the authority is only limited to the mosques, but the authority is active in dispute resolution of many issues, including spiritual guidance and also fighting against all negative developments. And we know that despite all challenges, our Religious Affairs Authority contribute tremendously to keep our unity intact. Right next to our borders, the Daesh trouble has been tackled with great contributions by the authority. This also is the case for healing the wounds of FETÖ treason organization, and our Religious Affairs Authority has always taken the front lines to fight against those terrorists. And in our fight against coronavirus, the authority also self-sacrificed much. Vefa support, social support groups worked hard, and more than 260,000 volunteers took responsibility. Our muftis, muezzins, or preachers, or religious officials ran for the help of our people and gave them a helping hand. And we have, of course, gone through a challenging period, but as compared to other countries, we have tackled this problem with much more ease. And with your great support, our nation has not gone through certain similar challenges that many other countries have gone through during this era of pandemic. And my dear brother Ömer Dengeloğlu, starting with him, I can say that all the imams, all the hojas who lost their lives due to COVID-19, I pray to God that they rest in peace and the mercy of God is on them. And on behalf of all those who put their hearts into this work, I would like to thank to them wholeheartedly. Wearing masks, paying attention to social distancing, and as well personal hygiene are the three basic rules in our fight against this outbreak. As we always reiterate, not abiding by those rules is violating the rights of others. And I believe every human being will not consciously, of course, commit this crime. And I hope that the Religious Affairs Authority plays its role as it has always done to curb this outbreak and to inform our people. And I pray to God for him to save us from this pandemic before long. Distinguished brothers and sisters, distinguished religious officials, in our belief, the world is the earth is the current day, and whatever we do on the face of this earth, we will be seeing its consequences in the afterworld. And if you are engaged with good deeds in this world, in the other world, you will be reaping the fruits. But those who fall short and weak to his own personal wills and interests will fail in the tests in the afterlife. And in our bountiful world, of course, we are tested with kindness, with good, as well as the evil. And our duty as believers is to show patience when we are short of resources and also not be spoiled when we have bountiful resources. So both the patience and also perseverance are what we need. And Quran suggests and says that there is an easy way out of every predicament. And we can clearly see that during this challenging era of a pandemic. And our whole nation has been bestowed with a great by the grace of God, and we during this period discovered the biggest natural gas reserve of our history, and this reserve has a capacity of 320 billion cubic meters of natural gas, and it has given us further belief for further explorations to come, and hopefully we will receive good news from our drilling activities, about our drilling activities ongoing in the East Mediterranean. And after 86 years, again during this era of pandemic, we have had the joy of converting Hagia Sophia back to its original. And on July 24, with prayers, with good wishes and tears, we opened Hagia Sophia to worship yet again. Hagia Sophia, as Sultan Mehmet II said in his will, took its former character yet again as a mosque, and this was a dream that came true for our nation. Many politicians, many political figures, of course, paid heavy prices to achieve that, and even some of them were tried. And from early years on in our political history, we have always had the dream of hearing the prayers of call to rise from Hagia Sophia. And we, every passing day, waited with patience for 86 years for Hagia Sophia to go back to its true form. And Turkey uses its own sovereign rights, and this step taken by Turkey, of course, was the signifier of a new era in the world politics. With the decision about Hagia Sophia, Turkey cast away a shadow placed on itself and also got rid of the shackles, and again converting this museum into a mosque was another good news for us. Right after the conversion, the restoration of Hagia Sophia was complete, and another structure, similar monastery, was also renovated, and it was then opened for service, and it showed once again to the whole world that our nation and our country has nothing against beliefs or different religions. But upon the decision about Hagia Sophia, some criticized Turkey very harshly, but with the opening of similar monastery to service yet again, we gave the best response. And Hagia Sophia has been open and like a holy book for us to read, and I am grateful to God for having blessed us with this. Opening Hagia Sophia to worship yet again, of course, hopefully will be auspicious for our ummah, for the humanity, and of course for our country. Distinguished religious officials, Turkey sets an exemplary stance for religious freedoms and coexistence, but in the Western world we see the otherwise, the exact otherwise. For long years, the cradles of democracy, the Western countries, in those countries we have seen xenophobia, racism, and discrimination, and it spreaded like a poisonous ivy. And fascist groups almost every day target the Muslim groups, and the Muslim women, due to their head covers, are attacked on the street, at schools, or in the marketplaces, or anywhere. And every day they face harassments. And there are many others who also are attacked and slandered just because they are Muslim, or some are also dismissed from their jobs or laid off just because of their religions. And of course, this impacts the other groups, the neo-Nazism, terrorism. Affects the Muslims as well as the others, of course, other religious groups and other ethnicities. Daesh Daesh-like ideology is poisoning Europe every passing day. The mosques or other sanctuaries of other religions are attacked every day. In Sweden, Quran was burned, and in Norway some tore away pages of Quran, and also in other places illustrations that mock our prophet are only some of the attacks against our holy values. The other day in New Zealand, a terrorist attack martyrized 52 brothers and sisters, and it shows the threat posed against the whole humanity, the serious threat, and it came bare for us to see. But the Western world failed short to show the courage to encounter such realities, and the attacks against Muslims or Islam are ignored or neglected by some and through excuses of freedom of speech, and also some are not even prosecuted. An issue like organizations commit crimes, and those crimes have now been obvious for us all to see, but some try not to place the due importance on such acts or commitments or such committings of crime. I very clearly say that xenophobia or Islamophobia is supported or encouraged by some organizations, and media is almost like the PR agency of such organizations who are engaged in such such acts of crime. Just like the massacres or the genocides that took place after the Second World, Europe clearly has not drawn the due lessons. And not only the foreigners were massacred, but also some people from the country also were attacked and killed. And many attacks that we have observed recently show that violence is not related or relevant with a specific ethnicity or a religious group or whatnot. But the European countries insistingly prefer to turn a blind eye to such realities unfolding. But on the other hand, politicians that do articulate unfairness also are attacked and defamed by some. Recently, some European leaders and some media outlets ignite xenophobia and Turkish phobia. And one of the reasons for that is, of course, their attitude. They believe if they keep Turkey silenced, they can solve the matters or the matters will be resolved. And they believe if they alienate us, their problems will not be noticed. Just like an ostrich which buries its head into the sand, some believe that the problems will disappear, but the problems or disputes do not disappear as such. So rather than facing xenophobia or racism, some do make the worst for their own people and for their own nations. And the neglected problems of today will come to their way more strongly and harshly tomorrow. Distinguished brothers and sisters, another important tool that some Western leaders use to hide racism is of some cheap politics, and some prime ministers and some state presidents also fall to the same pit, and they get cornered in the internal domestic politics and also fail in the international politics and target Islam and try to disguise or hide their own lack of merits or competence. And the last person involved in such an act was the French President Macron. And he stated that the Islam is in crisis, and that statement, going beyond disrespect, is a very obvious provocation. The French president, just about a week or 10 days ago, said we should improve our relations or negotiations, but then all of a sudden he forgot what he said and then made such a statement right after the other statements he made, and these all show how much of a respect we should pay him. Talking about restructuring of Islam as the president of France is nothing but presumptuousness. So far, we have never said we should restructure Christianity. Have you ever heard us utter such words, or have you ever heard anything from us about restructuring Judaism? Who are you to talk about restructuring or structuring of Islam and speak such words? The state's duty is not to intervene or meddle with a religion which is believed by millions, hundreds of millions of people, but is to guarantee the freedom and rights of people. Reform interventions or actions of reform about religion is unacceptable. Macron is talking about a crisis in Islam indeed, he is trying to curtain or hide the crisis that the French community or French state is going through. His main duty or purpose is not to fight against fanatism, but it comes clear that his main purpose is to come to terms or have some other accounts with Islam, and they are trying to impose a piousness that lacks religion. This mentality, which is a new product of anti-Orientalism, of course, opens the path for terrorist organizations like Daesh or the opportunists. And for more than a century, half a century, believers were stigmatized. But we know that no one can attack the freedom of speech and religion of Muslim people, and no one has the right to risk that. The property, lives, and the safety of all the Muslim people living in Europe are to be ensured by the states of those European countries. So, as a country that lost tens of thousands of people in the face of terrorism, we cannot, of course, keep silent in the face of such provocations. Disrespect to our religion can never be accepted. We will not. And we, of course, will not be wasting the grace of God on this earth. The state has, when they are speaking words about the rights of people and the religion of people, should split hair, if you will, and be meticulous. And when Macron is talking about such matters, he should be much, much more cautious. And I told him over and over again that he did not know much about politics. So it is like what I say fall to deaf ears. Rather than acting like the heir of colonialism, he should act like a responsible person. And we would like to speak one truth yet again. We are against assimilation, but we support integration strongly. We always suggest our people living abroad not to go introverted and always integrate with the society they live in and be visible in all fields of life, including economy, politics, and others. So all efforts of good intention, of course, will be supported by our country, and we're more than ready to support such good wills. Xenophobia, cultural racism, and extremism are the things that Turkey will be useful for many countries, and our cities such as Mardin, Hatay, and others are the best examples of coexistence, and the European leaders might take a lot of lessons from such cities of our country. And our religious advisors and all the preachers or religious officials help a lot to our people living abroad for them to be able to integrate into the societies they live in. So pervert ideologies of Daesh has been tackled due to the spiritual guidance. Thanks to the spiritual guidance of our religious affairs authorities and religious officials, and the Western leaders should not sacrifice real values in the face of such difficulties, and we will always side with tolerance and understanding, and no matter if some others are engaged in the otherwise, and we will always continue to support for welfare and peace, and will always continue to build peace. So, as I conclude, I would like to once again thank you all and pray for the mercy of God on all the religious leaders who lost their lives in their cause. And I wish the best of luck and health to all religious officials who are working day and night. And I would like to thank to our members of Religious Affairs Authority for their great work on behalf of my nation, my family, and I personally would like to extend my special thanks. And I greet you all once again with respect and love. Best regards. Thank you very much. Stay in health.
Bir müddet daha sahnede ağırlarken muhterem Diyanet İşleri Başkanımızı kendilerine hediye takdiminde bulunmak üzere sahneye davet ediyorum. Buyurun Sayın Başkan. Fethin sembolü